Sergio, if you can take the floor and introduce yourself and how you came up with the Devikins and your current number in the team.
I'm Sergio. I'm the lead game designer in Devikins and a programmer as well. Devikin, it's a Web3 game that we started developing last year, so it's a pretty new game. We launched the phase 1 in April, so it's like 5-6 months old, Devikins, and it's far from done. We are still developing every day, 7 days a week. Current our team, we have 16 people. Between the development team, that it's about 12, and we have 3 people on marketing and community management and things like that are not related to development.
Some are asking about the setbacks on the roadmap and the timeline. Can you discuss more the reasons for the setbacks? And is it because of only of the merge, or was it because of the polishing of the combat system?
Yeah, so it's not only for the merge. We did the merge as like a compensation for the pushback, because we did some tests. We saw that the real-time PvP was not that much complicated. Extra work is extra work, but not that much. But we had to push back as well because of the content. Devikins, as the PvE, we have all the story, we have all the items, all the enemies. It's a lot of content, and we kind of did short on the content. We thought it was less content, and when we put on down all the content we need to deliver PvE, we saw that we wouldn't have enough time to kind of be with the closed beta on September. So we said, okay, we don't want to rush things and do like half cooked. Yes. Because that's gonna hurt. Players are gonna get the game faster, but it's not they won't have like a good experience. So they probably wouldn't go back and wait. Like 1.0, I think it was a good learning that we kind of, even though we pushed, we kind of rushed to release 1.0, and then we have like 5 major updates to make the game better. It was good. It's a good learning, but I don't want to like repeat that with combat. That just with release half-baked combat, and then people would starting pitching things and complaining, and then we'd have like to work around the clock to get the updates and the fixes faster, sooner than we should. So I think it was a health speed bump to kind of increase the quality of the game in combat. That's a crucial and critical part in Devikins. That's the main part of Devikins, right? What we have right now was just like a introduction, and I see many players say I'm bored with that, and I understand that the combat is way fun. It's a more outspread genre, and I agree with that. But I think that the 1.0 was a good learning to learn how to actually have like a production way of having QA, all the updates. Then if we had start only with combat, we would learn everything we learned with the training or with the combat, and that could kind of kill the game, or it wouldn't be the optimal thing. So I'm glad we did that, and sometimes that happened, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's just a couple of months. It's not like years, so we're not.
Yeah, I think that it's better to release a less buggy game than to release it now with a lot of the important aspects missing.
We always hearing the word quality when it comes to Devikins. 1 or 2 or 3 minor requests or like a wish list from the community are relatively manageable. But when you combine this requests or asks from the community, I think this might take a toll on the timeline. So the question is, how does Moon Labs manage the community wish list, and does it really affect the timeline or the roadmap of Devikins?
Usually we try not to. We, as you said, we always open to this quality of life improvement. When it's small thing, we try to accommodate as soon as possible, because we understand how that improves the game and the user experience. That I wouldn't say it's the main thing, that it doesn't cause all delays, things like that. Of course, we spend time to develop that, and we always try to accommodate the best quality of life improvements with the difficulty. So if it's an easy thing, we always try to put on the next update. If it's a hard thing, we measure how that would improve the user experience, because there are some features that I'd love to have in Devikins, but it's gonna take so long to implement, that it's not that we are not doing, but they have like low priority, and that we might see that like in two updates up front, or when you are not kind of running with the content. Right now we release 1.5. We have the plan to release 2.0. That's Devikins Combat is the next big thing. So we don't have a plan of 1.6. We do had some small fix if needed, like we released 1.5.51 like this week. We had some small bugs that we found, but for big features we plan now to be focused on combat, so we can release in time, so we don't delay anything anymore. And we are hearing yet your wish lists, and we accommodate that with 2.0 as well. We had the weekly quota for the marketplace. That's one thing that I brought to the team. So we are trying to manage that to put on 2.0. So whenever you sell something very expensive on the marketplace, we get that extra quota so we can withdraw from the game, right? Because right now, if you sell something to 1 million DVK and you have like 50,000 DVK weekly quota, you take like 20 weeks to withdraw that. So that's small quality of lives that doesn't take a long of the team development. We always try to put in the game. And something that was state related, like someone asked about the Eldritch Void Adventures. I had that plan, and then I kind of pushed that, and we released with 1.5.51 as well. So it's always between difficulty and the how many that's gonna aggregate to the game, right?
It's good to hear and assuring that the team prioritize what's good to have and nice to have. And may I suggest if there's a possibility to release the PBE first before the PBP? This is because some of the players are bored of doing training in the nursery. Due to the combat delay, some are finding the training repetitive. So for waiting time, will there be any mini games, events, and how will you keep phase 1 interesting?
Well, so truth be told, PvE, the player versus environment or the story mode, it requires more work than PvP. Yes. Because we have to develop new enemies, we have to balancing, we have the drops, we have the stage, and I would say that's not possible. It would be easier to release PvP first. However, the PvP without the PvE, without improving your characters, would be pretty plain. So we don't see it splitting then. Regarding phase 1 and the training, I understand that it might be bored, and we are trying shaking stuff up with events. So we promise we are having a training event right now, and we promise that we're gonna have 2 more, and we have other events. We know that Deviboku was pretty popular. Some people are asking if they are gonna go back. We know that's popular. We're probably gonna go back, but we don't have data. We don't have a date yet to bring that back.
Yes.
And one thing though, we have the closed beta for December. We have the opening everyone can play on February. It's a couple of months. Just to stick with us, that it's gonna be compensate in the future. But yeah, so we can't release one part before the other because they are kind of overlapped. They are all involved with content and stuff like that.
Is there a level cap with the current phase 1, like the level on the side? Is there such a thing as a level cap for the phase 1? And is there somewhat a reward for those who stick through to phase 1? Since we know, like Robin said, that the current gameplay right now is quite let's say it boring.
Yeah. So the level cap, it's 100 for your game account, and that should stick with the combat as well. I know many players are level 55. I think that's the highest level right now. And it takes longer, so you don't expect that you're gonna get to level 100 with the same time frame, because it's kind of exponential curve. We do have plans for some rewards like we did for the open beta. So people who reached level 15 of the open beta had the beta personality drop to them. We do have a plan to, I wouldn't say who stick with on phase 1, but who is from the beginning that we're going to play their combat beta, they're going to have like a exclusive reward as well. If you play the combat, if you're here before the combat release actually and play your beta, you're gonna have like a nice surprise.
How does adjusting into P2 and P3 merge assures us that the interface will be less buggy by that time?
I don't know when we Arrow start playing the game, but I would say that we improved a lot. Whoever is from the beginning knows that we had the training timeout when we just released because I would say the game's pretty stable right now, and bugs, every software, every game has bugs. There is no bug-free games, right?
Yes.
The important thing is not having breaking bugs, so things that prevent players from playing. UI interface usually have, and then we note that we always do the fix, like 1.5, the last fix was just interface fix, bug fix, we had some pop-ups that stayed, and buttons that was not responsive. So we don't want bugs, right? We want everything perfect, but it's a development space. Games have bugs, and I was playing PlayStation 5 last week, and I had a crash in a AAA game, right? So the important thing is not having break game bugs. We had that before with the training. We have the procreation bug as well. We fixed that, and we learned that. I would say the game is pretty healthy right now. I know it's not bug-free, but we tried that, and as I said, I think phase 1 was a good learning for the team to how to work and have like a productive, a production-ready game and all the green lights and things like that. And we are applying that for the phase 2 and phase 3, and that's why we're pushing the roadmap, so we don't release a buggy game because we just speed things up and stuff like that, and testing as well. So the open beta and closed beta, I probably we're gonna have a lot of bugs because the new feature is a new big feature, but we want players to get a feel that and give feedback like it was phase 1, right? So, and I do argue that we have bugs, but I wouldn't say that it's a breaking game bugs, and we are improving. It's way better because they fix some issues there.
Okay, so moving on to the next one, the next question. This is from the DMC Guild. Like minting Devikins before, and since we will have an initial mint of weapons, will we have the same issues like before where the server would crash, which can cause delay?
I hope not. One thing though is that the weapon is gonna happen on Clever blockchain, so it's a new blockchain. But we are not starting the minting with weapons. So as we is on roadmap, we have the Clever migration, and then we're going to start meeting the Devikins NFT there. So we're going to have this testing phase, this learning phase of meeting there, and then we have the combat phase. I don't think we're going to have the cyber crash because as we have the re-release, right, of the shop, we had the breaking shop release in last September. But in October, we had iSmooth release because we learned how to work with that the blockchain, and we have like a huge help from Clever. So I don't expect that we're gonna have like that same thing that debacle that we had on last September.
These bugs and crashes, we believe that there's a lot of uncontrollable events or like circumstances, and we know that the Moon Labs team is really working hard to deliver high quality game experience to us. The question is, do we expect additional changes to the roadmap or any anticipated events could affect the timeline aside from the bugs and crashes?
There are external things, right? We don't know. Let's say we have like a solar explosion and the internet's gone for a long time. So we don't have. The thing that I know that we work right now, the timeline is looking really good. As I said, the whole team it's focused on combat right now. So we are doing things that we every 2 weeks we have like goals to reach out to build the game and reach out our goals by the end. And we since we released 1.5, we've been every 2 weeks, delivering that we are expecting. So I would say I don't expect any extra delay for combat right now, based on the circumstances we have right now. And so I can say that the project it's looking really good to match the combat
set time.
deliveries. Yeah.
I'm ready to punch
I'm
another
really confident.
Devikins.
I'm really
Yeah.
confident that we're gonna deliver on time this time.
Okay.
What you promised.
Right. But when it comes to, because you mentioned you have like a goal on periodic
Yeah.
basis, say related to the number of expected active daily users for
Mhm.
the combat phase, um, what's the number? Because currently we have 7,000, right, for
Yeah.
the Tamagotchi game.
Yes. 7,000 daily active users that are
Mm.
always gathering, meeting seats, and participating in the pool. Yeah. For the combat, we expected having like an influx of new players. We at least have like feedback of players that are waiting for the combat to start the game. Actually, like we have had this feedback that okay, Tamagotchi's not my thing. I'm gonna just wait combat, and then I'm gonna get adult Devikins from Marketplace, so I can just play the things I'm interested in, right? So, and I agree. Myself as a player, I see much more. I am much more excited to play combat than the training. But as I said, it was think the training to learn as is our first game. We are a new studio. I think we learned a lot of the things outside of the game development, like releasing the pipeline and things like that. And I think it was a good learning, so we can deliver the combat as smooth as possible. And I think the game is gonna be way more popular because it's a genre that's more popular with players, and it's more fun to play. But based actually numbers, it's hard to say. I would say it's. I think if you say that we're gonna like have three times more active players, I think it's a pretty reasonable number. If you get what we see in other games right now, right?
I think the marketing aspect or promoting it during the combat phase would really matter for that
Yeah.
phase. Yeah. But
The team is aware of that, and we kind of saving to kind of have like a really marketing when combat comes, so you can kind of step up in our marketing.
Ask what will happen when Devikins transfer to Clever blockchain.
Mm-hmm.
Will the players shoulder the gas fee?
So one thing that we want to do, Devikins that are inside the game already, so they pay the gas fee. So when we migrate to Clever Chain, we're going to do that automatically. So all the NFTs that are in game should be automatically moved to the Clever Chain. For those that are still on Tron Wallet, there is the gas fee of transfer, because that's a fee that's not on the team, right? We don't get the fee, we don't charge the fee. That's the blockchain thing. So strong charging that. So there's nothing we can do. We can ask Justin Sun to remove that and things like that. One thing though, on the right side for Tron blockchain is that they have this energy system, so we don't have to burn actual TRX. We don't have to, I know the freezing amount, it might be prohibitive for some people. I think I calculate to a player, you would need, I believe, 2,400 TRX frozen to be able to transfer one NFT per day for free without spending money, just using the accrued energy. So that's a strategy. You could rent as well energy to kind of transfer for free. And after you're in the Clever blockchain, their fee is way low, right? Way lower. I think last time I talked to them, the NFT transfer is just 2 KLV, so about 1 cent, 1 penny of dollar. Whereas right now on Tron blockchain, I believe we are 18 TRX. It's more than $1, right? I don't know what's the TRX price today, but yeah, it's about $1. So it's gonna be like 10 times cheaper when you're Clever Chain, that makes sense moving to them and having the combat NFT already there, not using Tron anymore.
Any possibility, like for example, there would be like a bridge from Tron to Clever Chain, and then the fees will be reduced?
Uh, I think not, because that would be something that Tron would have to sync up with Clever to have this bridge. When we say bridge, we're saying just like a technical bridge where you send your Tron NFT and then we give away the same NFT on Clever blockchain. That's gonna be created beforehand. So we have reserved all the NFTs on Clever blockchain that already exist on Tron. So we're gonna just exchange the ownership, right? So you have your Tron ownership with your wallet. You're gonna have your Clever address as well. So as soon as you kind of bridge, you send your Tron to a bridge system, we have a way of link, and game works as a bridge that since you have your game account and you're going to get your Clever address as well when we integrate with Clever Chain. So we have this pairing of one Tron wallet with one Clever wallet. So it's easy to lock the Tron NFT and then release the Clever NFT, the same NFT. So we are doing this bridge between networks. A way of doing that, like with a cheaper gas or gas free, would come from Tron and Clever blockchain, and I don't believe that would be a thing.
What will happen there? Do we need to migrate it, or do we draw it from Tron to Clever Chain?
Yeah, no. So the idea for all NFTs already in the game, the bridge is gonna do automatically for you. So you won't spend anything else to get your Clever NFT. As soon as we migrate to the Clever Chain, the game migrates to the Clever Chain, your NFTs will be on the Clever Chain automatically. So you don't have to do anything. The players not even feel that. The only difference it's gonna do is that if you decide to remove the NFT from the game after the Clever Chain migration, you'll be able only to pick a Clever address to send that NFT. You won't be able to send it back to Tron. But for all NFTs in the game, you won't have to spend any gas fee to migrate.
I think that's good news, since I'm not sure for some members of the community that most of the NFTs are actually in game. So
Yeah.
just want to repeat what Sergio mentioned. When you transfer during the migration, the players won't be shouldering any fees. It will be covered by the Moonlabs team. But when you withdraw it after the Clever migration, you will be shouldering some fees, which I'm not sure, Sergio, if it's already identified how much will be the transfer or transaction fee
On Clever Chain?
on Clever Chain.
Yeah, so I believe, I'm not mistaken, it's 2k OV. I know for tokens it is 2k OV. I think for NFT is the same, if not mistaken.
How will we migrate stake DVK to Clever Chain this November?
We plan to have an event like Clever did. So you're going to create another staking event to encourage people to move to Clever Chain, their DVK, but they are not forced to do so. You can't keep your DVK on Tron as well. When sending to the game, the idea is the player will have two addresses, right? You're gonna still have your Tron address, and you're gonna get a KLV address to deposit to the game. So, and then we're going to do, as I said, the idea is to have a staking event on Clever Chain to encourage people to move their DVK to Clever Chain. But it's not something that you have to. For some reason, if you want to stay on Tron, you can stay on Tron.
From DBK, are we planning to make a new currency?
Utility token for Devikins, no, we don't have any plan to have a new currency. We might have something currency-like for other games or parts of Devikins in the future, but right now DVK is the only utility token for Devikins. It's only the coin you use in game to pay for stuff.
Rewards from mint seed ranking, like pink tickets for top 100 for the current phase, since currently the individual ranking, there's really no bearing for it.
Yeah.
It's like bragging rights.
Yeah, yeah. As I mentioned, we have that in our wish list to add rewards to the mythics in the ranking. I think we can see some change to or improvements to mythics in the rank with combat with 2.0. And as I mentioned, we don't plan to release any other big update after the 1.5. So any like big change that we have, it's going to be in 2.0, and we're still developing 2.0. So we know that would be a nice addition to the myths in the ranking. We have brainstormed already something that could be added to the myths in the ranking. So the answer yes or no, but we know that it's a nice feature that we may see in the future, but not soon.
Okay.
Not for phase 1, not for current phase.
Yeah. Yes, with the price of mythic NFTs going down, maybe because of its current lack in utility, do you have something that will make mythic NFTs more interesting for us players, maybe in VAs or even being able to be sacrificed? I think I saw one in the comment section also asking for more utility for the rare Devikins. Do you have any plans for that for the current phase?
Yeah, we had feedback that we should have more VAs for Mythic. I agree with that. We are being brainstormed some Mythic VAs. Aside of that, if we have plans to make more utility of Mythic, I think Combat will bring that naturally, right?
Yes.
Because when you have a combat team, you want a stronger Devikins, and Mythic aside of Eldritch, they are the second tier, the second strongest Devikins. So I believe when you're gonna see like PvP, since Eldritch it's pretty limited. I believe we have 39 right now. So majority of players are gonna try to compose their PvP team using Mythic. So I think that's come naturally for the Mythics. So maybe now it's a good way of snatching Mythic because the price shall increase when you start seeing them competitive on PvP.
Why are events or updates not announced in game? You log in, you get an announcement, and the event is now active. I think I actually also raised this question before. I think we should utilize the in-game announcements because not all of us could look directly on the Discord and such. So
yeah, no, I totally understand that, and I agree. One thing that is holding us right now, and it's because we have 5 different languages in the game, and we don't have an in-house translator, right? So every time we would announce things in the game, or whenever you use the game announcement, we have some preparing time to get the translation from the company we use to translate our things. That's why our game announcements are kind of pre-planned. So anything that when you have like urgent announcement, you usually use the other medias. I know that's not perfect, that's not ideal. And I'm open to that. I would love to use that every time. If I could create a special group of players in the community that would willing to translate that for these urgent things, I would love that. So if you could get like a French, a Spanish, and a Tagalog speaking player that could help us, we could have like a special group. Because myself, I'm a Portuguese speaker, so I can make the announcements in English and Portuguese. But the other language, I'm afraid of using just Google Translate, because someone suggests one time, because Google Translate, even though it helps, it's not perfect, right? And I think would hurt more the game have like a pretty rough announcement than have you using your just current other medias. But I understand. I see that. I would love to have that in place and having better game announcement in games, so the players doesn't rely the other medias.
Earlier. So why aren't events and updates not started at developmental tech team start of the day? So they can handle any problems immediately instead of the day later. Like the live minting today, or the suddenly inability to sacrifice and proc. So any answers for that?
Actually, it started at the day development day, because we have time zones, right? So
Yes.
we always do the things at start of the day. Regarding the live mint, was brought to us on during the night that the shop.devikins, the price was not fetching, so we would investigate, because that was working before, right? So it was a permission thing with a supplier, and then we had to refix that. So there's no available time to fix that in time, so we announced that we would be pushing that. About the enable sacrifice and procreation, that happened after the night when the team was gone, because we are, like we are discussing offline, it's like 11 p.m. on Philippines, but it's 7 a.m. here, actually 8 a.m. here right now. So it was the end of the day for us, and then we noticed that the procreation and sacrifice starting failing the minting process. So we turn off to investigate what's happening, and then since all the team was gone, was not that fast to get to the players' announcement of that, because I was looking into the issue. And as soon as we recognize what the issue was, then we send the message with the compensation and the things. And right now it's turned on back, and I can say it was just due to the new gene's popularity. Everyone knows that the meat inside the game, it's gas free, because the team pays for the gas, right? So the problem was the popularity, the wallet that was meeting run out of energy, so we had to. But until we get to that point, we had to investigate if any what the problem system was and stuff like that. And I understand. I'm not saying that he's not right of complaining about the announcement, but was not something planned, right? So, and right now it's working. Yeah.
Expound, do you plan to have a 24/7 tech or and so on in the future?
Right now, I believe I wouldn't say just tech, but at least for communication, right? So right now we have Liz, is our community manager and in charge of the communication, and due to our time zones, usually when it's night on the Philippines, whereas we have the biggest player base, it's day for us. When it's day there, it's night for us. So we might have
a Filipino
team. Maybe I would love that. So we are 24 hours all this for all.
So she said that sacrifice failure quantity has no limit. So maybe the team should add a PT limit for this. Like for example, you burn 100 rare amulet and all are failure, and then on the 101 pull you get a chance to have a mythic and such and so on. Like a PT system in Genshin or other MMOs.
Right, we have the PT system on the Wicked Well. And I think someone suggested this week about sacrifice, because they have, I believe, a streak of 16 sacrifices on the rare and didn't get the mythic. And I agree. And we put that on a wish list. We're gonna plan that on, have like a peer system for the sacrifice, that since we have the percentage there, so we have this average, you should get a success, right? So if you pass that, we kind of can increase a lot your success chance.
Yes.
But I can say you're probably not going to see Elder to drop from sacrifice, because people would be happy with that.
I was planning to be a risk taker and not use an amulet.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. And one thing that I want to clarify, sometimes we get a support that on a success, the amulet won't prevent your NFTs to be burned. So we had, I believe, 2 players that complained their NFT was burned on a successful ritual. So remember, if the ritual is successful, your NFTs are going to be burned. The
Yeah.
omelet only prevents if the sacrifice fails, so you don't lose your.
To have an auction or offers in the marketplace, and also will there be a gene selection soon so that you can see the if the Devikin is mutated,
Mhm.
or if the embryo, what does it, what does the embryo look like
Mhm.
when in its adult phase?
Yeah. About the auction, we didn't discuss that. The offers, we had like a discussion that would be the next step on the marketplace. For the dean selection, I would have to ask the backend engineers how feasible that is in technical part, because I know they do a lot of optimizations there. But I can bring that, and if that's feasible, we can as I said, we can do that in our quality of lives updates.
Yeah, it's really based, even the marketplace is really currently it's really based on the supply and
Hmm.
demand right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Are there any in-game events that will include all players or newbie friendly? Since training events only favors that invested large amount of money.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
follow up to that or addition to that question would be, how would a newcomer be more enticed to hop in this game, Devikins, if he or she has some reservation or concern about the player and the character
Hmm.
levels?
Hmm.
Since
Uh,
most of us are in,
mhm.
30
Yeah,
to
50
50
and no.
Yeah,
above.
I think we're gonna have like a with combat release that we're gonna have ways of having events and uh, players showing how good they are with strategy in combat. I agree right now. Whoever has the most roster can train more Devkins,
Yes, yes.
uh, but I would say with combat we can reward more skill than just having the more dev kits to train. And about the newcomer, one rule that I discussed way before that we dropped because of this issue. Uh, I remember one of the first MAs. I think that we would have like a cap where you can only use Devkins of the level your game account. So if you're a new player, you have level 5, you could only use Devkins on level 5 or less. We are dropping that. So a new player, they can be competitive if they get NFTs on the marketplace that are higher level. So this way, it's a way that players can train their Devkins to sell to other players as well. And that's a way a new player, they won't be bounded by their game account level to play competitively in the game when the
Yeah.
combat drops up. That was one rule that we recognize, because right now level up, account level up, it's kind of more just a time thing, right? So you enter, you do your daily chores, and then you get the max experience there. So it takes time to level up your account. But we don't want, sorry, we don't want that to be like a cap for the combat itself. So the player, they are going to be limited by their team and their strategy thing when they're the combat release. So a new player can just start the game and kick asses on PvP
No,
if they
okay.
want to. They would need strong devkins, but yeah.
There is like a tiering when it comes to matchmaking for PvP.
Mhm.
Okay.
Actually, yeah. So for tiering, when you set up a team with 4 devkins and your pet, your team gonna get the score based on the overall affinity and based on their levels. So the matchmaking is gonna use your team level to matchmake, not your account level. So a player level 1 that just borrowed or just bought level 100 devkins, and they have like a full level 100 devkins, mythic devkins, they might be matched with a player level 80 that has the same level team. So the matchmaker is going to use the team level, not the player count level.
Aside from the ambassadors and top players from current training even, are there chances for other players to be chosen and participate on the close beta combat?
Yeah. So we do have spots for early adopters, but I know that might be not be the case for the players. And as I said, we do have some like random spots to be just given away on our Twitter or on something like that. So there are ways of getting to the closed beta, and as I said, I know how eager players are to play Devikins, so we don't want to extend the closed beta and have the open beta as soon as possible. But it's important to have the closed beta because it's a controlled space with a limited number of players. If anything goes south, it's easier to recover from that than just starting for open beta.
DVK to be listed in Binance?
I would love to. I would say it's not because of the Devikin teams that don't want to list on Binance, but I believe it's more Binance interest on that because the bigger exchange they have this thing, right? Everyone want to list it there, so they have this. They do the screening as well. So I'd say it's more on Binance side than Devikins. If they want to list us, we want to be listed there for sure.
All right. And another question from IBAX. So, are there any plans or feature related to Devikins land in the future?
Oh man, when we talk about the roadmap and that we mix phase 2 and phase 3, at the end we kind of hint what's next for Devikins when we call Voidverse. That's pretty soon to talk that about, but it's the Voidverse. It's Devikins' take on metaverse, right? So I don't see Devikins being like a full metaverse, people building things, because that works more for like free games, PC, things like that. But we see ways of making Devikins expand, let's say, horizontally, not just vertically. And that's what Voidverse is. We're not just ready to announce what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think that relates to the question.
Yeah,
if that helps.
I think I was wondering if you can further explain the role of seasonal minting and void scraps in the upcoming phase.
Sure. So the idea of the seasonal minting is that whenever we open a season of minting for Comet NFT, we have a limited amount of NFTs to be minted on that season. So that's going to be based on the void scraps generation. So the more community generates void scrap, more NFT is going to be available to be minted in that season. And as soon as we reach the max of minting in that period, you're going to be able to mint new ones from the store only on the next season. So the idea is that it's called seasonal. So we have all this season of minting. It doesn't mean that whenever the mint season is over, that no mint is going to happen. We do plan to have as a reward. So players can get new mints as rewards, but they won't be able to get new mint as they like they have with Devikins today. So that way you're going to have this max supply and demand more control than we have for Devikins. And that's the idea of seasonal mint. So the combat NFTs they're going to worth more because their supply it's more limited because we have the seasonal fixed and we have to wait the next season and things like that.
So the next question is from Giyu. So Giyu asked, would the price pool or the minted DVK pool increase during the combat phase? If there would be more players. Currently, we have 10 million DVK pool. So he thinks that the reward for low-level players is actually a turn-off right now. So any changes on the price pool in the combat phase?
Yeah, like I mentioned, we don't plan to change the DVK pool on that way. But with combat coming, I see other ways of rewarding players DVK. So I wouldn't say DVK pool is the only way of getting DVK. And as asked before, we plan kind of to broaden the DVK pool. So with extra rewards, and as I mentioned right now, the NFT minting, the combat NFT mint is going to be limited outside of the seasonal mint. And we could see some rewards relate to that on the DVK pool. So aside of the DVK, you could earn some new currency that would allow you to collect that and turn that into a combat NFT. That I think it's going to be more natural than just increasing the amount of the DVK pool.
I think even if, for example, the DVK soared high, even a small amount of DVK will have a value. So
Yeah.
so let's make it to the combat phase. So this is from Pond Noob Cake. Okay. I'm happy that there are no username with slurring. How much void scraps do you need to buy one weapon? Are there any estimate or such?
Yeah, I mentioned before we are still planning that, balancing that, and as I said, whoever gets to the level 1 of royalty level 1, and from the beginning of the event, that was I believe 2-3 weeks ago, we're gonna balance the void scrap so you can get at least 4 combat NFTs for weapons to kick off your team. Right now we are playing with the number of 25,000 void scraps per weapon on the common forge. I believe there's a quest in the future.
I think forge.
Yeah. So forge, it's how you're gonna get your in-game NFTs. You're gonna drop. It's like the wicked well. So you're gonna get to your forge, and we have different quality forges. Right now we are naming that internally as common, enhanced, and premium. In the game, it might have other name, but they have different drop chance of rarity. So the common one, we are playing with the 25,000 void scraps per pool.
Wow.
So, and as I said, we calculated whoever is at least level 1, they're gonna have enough void scraps to drop that.
Yeah. So, how about are void scraps tradable items, or will there be any way to get void scraps, or can you buy it in the marketplace, in-game marketplace, like the boxes and such?
Yeah. So we to prevent exploits, we are making it kind of bounded. Bounded.
Yeah.
Right now, the current event, it rewards void scrap, and I see we could starting having different source of getting void scraps in the game, not just the royal level. The royal level is gonna be your constant, bigger source of void scraps, but you could get some extras and things like that. The Eldritch Void Adventures, it has a chance of getting extra void scraps as well. But yeah, but you cannot trade that. That's linked to your.
There's gonna be a prone for abuse as well. So I guess that the void scraps, you can't buy it off in the in-game marketplace as well. So
no. Because as I said, it's not tradable. It's linked to your account.
After the season, will the weapons or items that you mint for the current season be broken, or will it disappear?
No, they are your NFT. Yeah,
forever.
The season is that they do have durability, like we mentioned in the white paper. Yes. That as more you use, the durability go down, and if you reach 0 or lower level there, you lose some extra bonus, and they act worse, but they are not gonna break. The NFT is not gonna break, and they have to get one. The seasonal, it's more about minting than actually the lifespan of the NFT.
Okay, we have a question from comments by Fire Devikins PH. Related to the void scrap. Is the player that doesn't have void scrap still be able to mint combat NFT using DVK or other currencies?
Yes, the plan it is DVK. We're gonna try to put that in the shop, like we have right now for Devikins, and in game they're gonna be in app like we have for Devikins as well. So the void scrap is more an event, so we can get like for free combat NFT. We reach the seasonal mint, right? So it's not going to be as available as Devikins, like mentioned.
Points decrease once our DVK staking is finished, or our royalty points accumulate over time as we stake more?
They are not removed when the stake period finishes, but if you withdraw your DVK that is staked, then it decreases. Because what happens, let's say you have the 1 month in pool. You stake your DVK on today, September 30th.
Yeah.
When it's October 30th, it's available to withdraw. But you can keep that for October, November, and your points gonna be there. You're gonna get your level. as soon as you withdraw, so you can withdraw from your account, from the DVK vault, then your RP is decreased and your level might be decreased as well, and you're gonna get your daily rewards based on your current level. So as long as you don't withdraw, you don't remove your DVK from the stake of the anniversary, your RP is gonna stay there.
Void scraps are non-tradable and it's yours only.
Staking right now. So you will have a lot of void scrap during the seasonal minting.
We're gonna go to the combat phase and so on. So, Verklempt, take over.
Let's get straight with the question. When it comes to the Devikins gameplay currently, right now, in the after the Tamagotchi, it's on the combat phase. How do you see like new gamers and the current gamers to be inclined in this RPG type, turn-based RPG type game? Considering many games, for example, one of the most successful blockchain game already captured this particular market. So gamers might have like a fatigue and turn-based RPG type. So what is the differentiation of what Devikins can offer with this the players?
Okay, yeah. Aside of the cute graphics and funny aspects and thematic, which is not enough so players to play, even though graphics it's an important thing, I'd say that Devikins team composition and team creation, it's way deeper that we have in games right now. The other games, we just have your team and they come with the cards and stuff like that. And Devikins, you have your pet, and with your pet you can have a pet skill, and your Devikins you can equip up to 4 skills. So we have 16 different skills composition to play on that, aside of your weapons and equipment, and have sets and special abilities. So the team composition of Devikins itself, it's a game, so you have to have your best synergy on that. It's way deeper, so you're gonna be you're gonna have like a good time preparing that, or learning all the ins and out, or having like a guide, like you the community did the training guide items that myself use that. Even I know that we designed the game, but the way you guys put on the cheat sheet for the training items, even myself use that, and I bet players gonna do that for the teams as well, and having the meta for skills and stuff like that. So I believe Devikins it's way deeper on that, way more things to plan about, and to make that way more dynamic combat than just bring your team that's always fixed and stuff like that. And turn RPG, I would say it's saturated. It's I believe it's the best genre aside of the strategy strategy turn-based. So yeah. And as I said, it's Devikins, so you're gonna have funny things in your combat, or enemies, or weapons. Yeah.
There's a lot of characteristic and a lot of traits of Devikins. That's
And we have costumes as well.
yeah.
1,000, right?
Yes,
7,000
7,000 active users.
And we are expecting, I think, an increase when the combat phase arrives.
Yeah. I could easily see 21,000 players, active players.
Wow.
I wouldn't say day one. They are gonna like starting, because you're gonna start seeing more combat streaming and stuff like that. Because right now, even though we can streaming the training takes like about a minute, so you can see the animation. But combat is gonna be longer sessions, right? So like 3 to 5 minutes, you're gonna try to have a battle there, or even longer for PvE, like boss battles and stuff like that. But for PvP, I believe a session, a session for 3 to 5, up to 10 minutes per battle. So it's more streamable material, right?
Is there any game mode in the character or the player level is disregarded? So similar to other games wherein all the characters are all level 1, and they fight each other.
Oh, I see. We do. I do have that in mind, like Pokemon does, when you have like a real competitive gameplay, a tournament. we have a set of level for everyone. So the level, so the best player is the one that gets the best strategy, not the best strongest team, right? So we do know that it's a thing that happens, and I believe we're gonna implement that for like competitive PvP events. But I wouldn't say it's level 1. Probably, I like the way Pokemon does, like they do midway, so everyone is capped at 50 because
Oh, okay.
they are not weak, but they are not
Yeah.
overpowered, right? So you're midway.
Oh,
I like that idea. Level up, it's a deterministic ways, right? So we can get any that can add any level input at level 50. So the attributes are always going to be the same.
Yeah. See, Master Devikins has always a different perspective on
yeah.
how game works, so it's really nice to know these
Yeah.
things.
I think random share. I think out of all the NFTs that I've been to, Devikins was the first game that I was interested with the white paper because of the details, the artwork, and such. So I'm really looking forward to the combat system. I was just randomly looking at Facebook and something. Hello, Devikins, and then goodbye, cash. Yes,
Goodbye.
because of the white paper, it's really
Yeah.
good.
Awesome. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I don't think our first white paper is it's that good. I think the latest one was way well developed, better developed. But yeah,
The
we
arts
always try to.
the
Yeah.
art style is ano, and it really got me when I've listened to the combat AMA before when you reference like this Gaia persona, and as an RPG, as a fan of RPGs, I have high respects for people who knows those references, so I look forward
Alright.
to it. So, Ed, when the combat or battle phase is implemented, do you plan to make it easier to train Devi kids, like reducing the days it will become adults so we can focus on combat or battle? And what would happen to phase 1 training and VAs? Void
Mhm.
adventures and such.
Yeah, we plan that. We plan to have that speed up or have an item that we can insta grow your dev kit. We are actually developing that right now and testing. Regarding training, we wouldn't remove. We are gonna keep that for whoever wants to still playing that and get your max Devikin and stuff like that. Because as we said, the max Devikin it reflects to the combat, right? So you have like a head start on your combat because your Devikin is stronger. So it's still valuable gaming mode. About VAs, we can keep the way it is as a side gameplay. I was playing Genshin Impact,
Oh,
and they have the same thing, right? So you can send your fighters to timely missions that just get your rewards. You just wait and that's it. So I don't see that would I don't see why you're removing that
okay.
for the game. It's gonna be just an extra option to get extra rewards for the game. But
So,
yeah, I wouldn't say it's gonna be the main thing for Devikins, right? It's really important right now, but I wouldn't say it's a game mode that we would remove.
send my Devikin to the Void adventure, so I can't use that Devikin in combat, right? Something like that.
No, Genshin doesn't do that, so I don't see
Oh,
why. We do that with Procreation, but for combat, you as soon as you send to the Void event, I don't see why penalize the players so they cannot use that in combat.
also, the combat phase is what everybody is excited about. Will there be a matchmaking, like new and old users match properly level up? For I think this is the part where players get to experience out this world, so it should be balanced. I think that was answered earlier. If you'd like to elaborate on it.
Yeah, no, as I said, we are not going to use the player account. So new players and old players, what it's at stake is their team composition and the level. So if a new player, as a new player, they are starting from beginning and they have like a weaker team, we're gonna try to matchmake them with other players with a weaker team. We could even have like a player that's level 50, but have a weak team. So they are gonna be matchmaking on that. That's the plan to be more
Mm.
fair thing. But it's a real time PvP, right? So
Yes, yes.
sometimes we might not get that fair of battle because there is no one available. So it's all about fine tuning So if you should get a battle or not because of the range discrepancy and stuff like that.
Will there be any other ways to gain access to beta combat aside from
Yeah,
the
there,
exciting envelope training event and ambassador program?
yeah, there will be. There are some random, there are early adopters, and the investors, the content creators.
Yeah.
So I think Era asked this question, right, about um any chances. So Era,
There are
you like
chances.
there are chances of
Yeah.
winning the
The
uh,
envelope. Will there be a storyline or mainstay characters like fixed characters and such and so on?
Yeah, so we are working right now on prototype or dialogue for story mode. So we do plan to have a story mode with story and dialogue and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah. So, but we are prototype right now, so I wouldn't say yes or no, but yeah, we know that's a valuable thing for RPG, right?
yes.
Even though many players just skip that and just go to battle.
Yeah.
I know some players really like the digging into that, and I think the Devikins lore it's so rich that we should explore that with the storyline in story
Yes,
mode,
yes, yes.
so with dialogues and things like that.
As an JRPG gamer, I think there will be another market if you have a good storyline. Like there's some games like they have really good storyline, even though it's like 2D sprites, like
Yeah.
this Gaia,
Mhm.
Persona, the Trails in the Sky, and so on. So I as well knowing that knowing that you like that genre, I'm looking forward to a funny, entertaining
Yeah,
storyline as well. And so
yeah, yeah.
on. Someone is asking that the boss in PvE would be a surprise and it will look like you.
The boss?
Yeah.
No, no.
So,
Yeah, we're working right now your first boss prototype. Yeah, yeah, it's not like me.
do you have an estimate number of arena for seasonals rankings such as like Poppers League, Mixed League, and such?
Yeah, so right now you're working with 3 leagues, 3 arenas actually, for the asynchronous PvP, which has the unlimited, you can bring any composition you want, the 100 cap, so all the overall affinity of your Devikins must sum up to 100, so you can bring 425, 150, 112, 113, 125, and the pauper that you can bring only common Devikins.
Oh, yeah. So it's really I think another addition or like my own opinion, one of the things that I like with Devikins or how it's explained is because there's a lot of variables or modifiers when it comes to the combat system. There's like
Yeah.
yeah, there's like your character, the race and such,
Yeah.
the equipments and so on. So and there's a really lot of variables. So we're gonna be seeing an interesting sort of battles and such and so on. What will be the mechanics in the PvP ranking, M? Like, can you give us like a small detail and such?
So actually, I wouldn't say we have one PvP ranking. Like I mentioned, we are not planning to remove the asynchronous PvP. And right now, you're still developing, but the idea is that for the asynchronous PvP, we have a weekly league. So it's like the
Ah,
PvP rank, it's like the mixed ranking, that once a week you battle throughout a week on asynchronous PvP, earn points, and then we have a ranking, and that resets every week. And when it resets, you get rewards based on your rank. And then we're calling season, which is the real-time PvP. So
yeah.
during season, you can go to a ranked battle. That's going to be real-time. You're going to match to another player. And that's a longer period when you accrue more points. And we have like tiers. You have your platinum, gold, and things like that. And with bigger rewards. And there are these 2 different ranks. And then we have the overall, we are calling the overall ranking, that it's a ranking, it's not going to be worth reward, but it's a forever ranking that the player that it's
Bragging,
always
right?
doing it. Yes.
More.
The plan is that it's not going to reset your PvP history for reward, for the points and things like that. But since that's not fair with new players, so that's more a bragging right. So you might see some visual cue, but not rewards per se, because as I said, when you have this overall, the player that starts 6 months later, it's gonna be really hard to catch up with whoever is since the beginning. Whereas the season, even though it's longer, as soon as one season ends and the other starts, a new player has a chance to compete against the other players on the new season.
Similar to like individual ranking, would this be also applicable to ranking during PvP?
For guilding, guild ranks, we do have other events planned, not for the release day, but we do plan to have guild events, specifically guild events, where's the rank is per guild. And as I mentioned before, today the guild rate, it's given by the sum up of all guildmates level up. So it's not fair because older guilds have like a better grade, and newer guilds has no way of matching up with that guild. The plan is that when you have the PvP released, you're gonna change the grade, the guild grade calculation to be more related to your PvP story of your teammates. So a new guild that has good PvP players, they're gonna have a good grade. They could have a good grade as good as old guild has the same PvP level of winning and stuff like that. But as again, the grade's gonna not be a ranking system for rewards. It's more like a grade system. And then when we have the guild events and with the guild ranking, then we have the PvP things for guilds.
But no cake, what does agility do in combat? Or it's basically a question about affinity in combat phase. Does the item also have an affinity binding like in Baldur's Gate? Like for example, you can only equip this weapon if you have a 10 affinity and such and so on.
So agility is what will give you speed. And since it's a turn-based, higher the speed, faster you act.
Yeah.
The affinity, it's more outside combat thing. It's more related to your level up. So a higher affinity means that when you level up your character, the attribute that affinity guides is going to increase higher.
Yes.
So that's why Eldritch at the end of the game, they have like higher stats than a common Devikin. Regarding the items, we don't have right now anything that it's binding with affinity, but we do like to release one skill that's related with generality. We can have skills or even weapons that can have like a requirement. So this skill does damage. If your Devikin has 10 affinity on agility, then can get a speed boost or something like that. So we have this complexity for our skills with genes and affinity and things like that.
Regarding weapons, power, sanity scaling, do you need both power and sanity affinity, or is it okay to just have one?
Clearly, it's just one. Weapons, they have either power scaling or sanity scaling. So if you're using your sanity scaling weapon, you should equip that on a high sanity Devikin. If you have like a power scaling weapon, you should equip that on a high power Devikin.
Okay, so I was gonna ask if there's gonna be like an energy system, like for example, there's a limit of there's like a storyline and like a battle phase or like a combat or like PvP and PvE. Do you have like an energy system where when you use it in like on the adventure mode it lessens or
yes? So we do have that for PvP and for the asynchronous. We have that for PvE and for asynchronous PvP. For the ranked battle, we are planning to not have. So the player can play as much as they want ranked, because the risk reward on ranked is that you can lose, and if you lose, your score is gonna go down, right? Yeah. Whereas on the PvP asynchronous, it's more like I grew the high score on that day, and for PvE you use more for grinding, get items, so you have this energy system planned. So
it's really nice. Will there be another kind of well, but the prices are NFTs like Devikins or equipments? And he asked about briefly asked about the forges, or like, can you go on the
Yeah,
detail to
so
the forges and such?
yeah, so we do have we are calling that forge because you kind of craft your weapon, your equipment, and your skill. They're similar to well, but they have right now the wicked well they have just one. And that we can get between rare to eldritch items. Whereas the forge we have three. We are planning with having three quality forges. So we have like the common, the enhanced, and the premium. And they have different drop chance based on the rarity. For example, the common forge you can get from common to mythic weapon, like let's say at 1% of mythic, and almost no chance of getting an eldritch weapon on that forge or equipment or skill. Whereas the premium, you have like already a 1%, 5% eldritch chance, and you don't have a chance of getting a common drop from that forge. So they are similar, but they are different at the same time.
Yeah.
The 25,000 void scrap is only for common forge, or that's it apply to common, enhanced, and other forges?
Apply it to all forges. So the player gonna pick and which forge they wanna drop. Consequently, the premium forge it requires more void scraps to be pulled off. So at the end, it's gonna be the player. Oh, I wanna actually try getting 10 common pulls on the common forge, or just 5 for on the premium forge. It's gonna be up to the player to separate their void scraps on the pulling. Can go for more NFTs on lower chance, or fewer NFTs on a higher rate chance.
Sure. What would be the best tip in preparation for the combat phase?
I would say max out your Devikins on your training, because if you take notice, whenever they grew up, we show the final stats. They are always level 1, promotion 1. So that's the status you're gonna start using when you go to combat. So, and there's a difference if you go to combat with Devikins that has 100 and all attributes, or if they have 50, 60 the attributes. The attributes grow over time when you level up, but it's better starting from the max out than not max out Devikins. So I'd say in preparation, that's the best you can do. And of course, get your void scraps to get your weapons and equipment and skills when it's time.
Unique mutated bonded genes play an important role in PvP more than any other normal ones. Does it
I would,
like have an advantage?
yeah, not by only having the gene, but we have skills that interact with the genes. Like I believe the first skill we shared was one that was linked to co-dominant, right? So the same way you have a skill that interact with co-dominant genes, we have skills that interact with unique and bonded and mutated. And since they are rarer genes, these skills are a bit better than the regular, the codominant, the dominant, and recessive genes. So they interact with skills. The gene sync as well, right?
Yeah. Any chance for a mutated mythic to win over an eldritch?
Mutated mythic over with an eldritch. Yes, as I said, that's just one variable of combat. If you're saying a mythic level 100 and an eldritch level 1, for sure you're gonna kind of hit kill that, right? So it depends the level, it depends the equipment, it depends the skills you're using. So it's not just a plain level check that.
Yeah. So
Of
guys,
course,
it depends on variables.
Yeah, of course. If you have like 100 common against 100 level 100 common against level 100 eldritch, your common probably is gonna need a better strategy to win the eldritch than the eldritch needs a better strategy to win the common, because the attributes count as well, right? So, but it's not just plain as okay, I have an eldritch, I'm gonna win combat.
Yeah.
For 100 OA Cup arena or tier, Is the team still valid if the OA sum is below 100?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's a 100 cap. You can bring as low as 20. I think that's the lowest OA you can have for a team, because 5 is the lowest OA. So if you bring 4, you have a 20. So you can bring a team of 20, but yeah, probably
Okay.
not gonna win a lot.
All right. Will there be a meta system like, say for this season, this type of Devikins or Devikins rule, or maybe stronger? In the next, there's another type of meta that is stronger than the other previous one.
I think so. I believe every game has a meta, right? I can say we are trying to develop to be the more balancing as possible, but usually you have this better that's better, and we always have like balancing and things like that to kind of make the game fair. We don't want it's a broken game that everyone that's able to get that 4 skill or that 16 skills is gonna win every time. But it's expected to every game has a meta. So, but for Devikins, it's such a complex game. I think it's not so plain which meta is. I think it depends. Would be nice to have more like a rock paper scissors, that we have like 3 or any metas that people can shift and pick the one that they like the most, right? Like we have for Magic the Gathering, the trade card game. We have every season have some meta, but it's not just one. There are people that are more controlled decks. There are people that are more aggro decks and stuff like that.
Do you have a plan to have a guild war included in the near future?
We have a plan to have a guild war. I don't promise on the launch or the near future, but as we did for Devikins 1.0, as soon as we release combat, we're going to keep adding new modes. Right now, written down, we have, I believe, 7 modes between PvP and PvE. So our plan for launch on next year is to have 3 modes: the star mode for PvE, and the ranked battle called season for real-time PvP, and the weekly league for asynchronous PvP. That's the 3 we are focusing right now. And as soon as we release that, we're going to continue building the game and things like that, and bring more game modes. And Guild Wars is one of them that's already written, and we plan to have that.
Will you release white paper in the future regarding ancestry's weaknesses and resistance to any ancestry and such?
Oh yeah, that's still balancing, but we can show that, or not. It's gonna be a surprise.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Figure it
as
out.
as we mentioned on the white paper, ancestry has weakness to the elements. So you don't have ancestry to ancestry weakness. It's more like you mentioned persona. We have the elements. We have 11 elements today on in Devikins, and each ancestry has a resistance or a weakness to that for each ancestry, or they have none. They just receive the regular damage. But yeah, we do like we have shown on the alpha gameplay combat.
Yeah.
We do know on the targeting system where you're gonna do more or less damage, because we show the coloring of the target. It's a Q, so you know the fighter I have active right now is gonna do more damage that or less damage on that one based on the targeting color.
Weakness and such. And
Yeah.
Are pets trainable or upgradable?
The pet skill is, so like we mentioned, skills in Devikins work like Final Fantasy VII materia. So the more you use your skill, more they accrue experience. They have its own progression aside of the Devikin progression, and they can level up. So your skill level up and it improves. And a pet skill, it's a skill itself. So the more you use your pet skill, the stronger this skill can get. Regarding, like we mentioned, the pet per se in a combat, it's a group of 2 things: a pet skin that you can use whatever you think you fancy the most, and a skill that you can improve. So your pet is turnable. The skill is the skin is just like your visual. You can get the best skin you like for your team.
Gold.
Question would be after the combat, um, what is the next big thing for Devikins?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, we call that Voidverse, but we're not quite there to share yet. We just leave the name as a queue. But yeah, so that's lie ahead as a big update to be like excited. Aside of new combat modes that we plan after the combat release 2.0. So yeah, you're not ready to start talk about that yet, but
Yeah.
there are
Just a
big
bit of
things planned.
spoiler. A
Yeah,
spoiler.
yeah, yeah.
At what stage of development can players expect to earn more than they spend in the gameplay? Which is actually a good question right now.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mentioned, in combat, we are trying to expand ways of earning in the game, not just rely on the DVK pool, because we know right now the oldest and players get more because they have, or the player who has more the highest or a bigger roster, they can do more void adventures. Consequently, they get more void meat seats, so they earn more. With combat, we can reward more skill over just the amount of your roster, because combat involves skill, where train is more, it's a simpler gameplay.
Yeah.
So we think that we can spend the earn and reward more
On the
more
combat.
on skill, on the skill based level, so the player doesn't need to have like a lot of NFTs, but they have to be good, right? So it's a different way of tackling the game. But if you say, okay, but I'm not good, I have a lower, I have a few just NFTs, so it's hard to everyone to earn as like a big time when it's a limit amount, right?
Yeah.
And you see right now how the other play to earn games, so it's a real challenge. So everyone is trying things and learning as we go. Because it was like a really good when you're the bull market, but now that we are bear market, like I don't know any game that's doing really good. If anyone knows, please message me the name. I wanna see what they're doing, but yeah, it's a new thing. So as I said, we're learning. What we're trying is to diversify, so different types of players can still earn as well, and things like that.
I think, in my own opinion, I think the profitability of the game would really depend on the combat phase right now, rather than and if like, for example, the marketing and promotions as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I believe the ability of bringing new players, right? So
yes.
What can we expect from Devikins team for the upcoming months up until next year, before the live launch in May? So from now until say end of April, what will the community excited and busy about?
yeah, so you're fully focused on developing combat right now. We have the closed beta come this year still, and then sooner, early next year, we have the open beta and the full launch. We're gonna try to, like we are doing, like once a week, sharing some skills. So you want to get the more content, show more content to get people excited as we are work on combat. And as I said, as the team is fully focused on combat right now, we are really delivering what you're expecting. So I don't think you're gonna shake up. We don't need to touch the roadmap again. So yeah, we are starting sharing more and more about combat as we go. Like I mentioned in the MAAs, we have a lot of different types of content, and we're gonna start sharing that as we implement and get to share ready level, because we have a bunch of prototype things, and that's not yet to be shown. But as we get, we're going to start sharing with the community.
The scholarship program.
Yeah.
It was asked by Douglas, Devikins Pampanga, and among others. So what's gonna be the plan for that?
Yeah, the plan for scholarship, as I mentioned a few times, we really see challenging with the current system, how the earning method is, with the ability to scholarship to lend your NFTs to earn DVK in return. But I think for combat we can come up with a better landing system, because we're gonna have like the PvP reward system that's gonna split. It's gonna probably be a side of the DVK pool, so we can easily kind of match that with the scholarship system. And I know players they have like kind of scholarship right now, but the system, I think they are kind of create account and they just give the credentials and things like that. I don't know how they do the earnings split though. I haven't no one talked to me about that. I don't know how they do it today.
It's good to know that
Yeah.
it's being considered the scholarship program.
Will there be a live or feedback or replay that we can watch, especially the top players fighting, so we can have a better view? Like maybe like a Devikins tournament and such? A live tournament and so on?
Yeah. I think we could get like weekends with have that and people streaming. We are not planning like have a replay system yet. But we could see players streaming that, and we want the battle really exciting with that. To have this extra layer for streaming.
Could miner Devikin NFT be given a utility to mine void scraps or DVK tokens?
Maybe via adventures, we could see that. Yeah, the miner we that has that name because they were people who mined Devikin, right? The miner doesn't mean that they mine things. It's because they mined the DVK in the launch event.
before.
Yeah.
When are you going to the Philippines, Sergio, for a meet and greet?
There's an event in November.
Yeah,
Some players
Web
message
3,
us.
Web 3.
We are still checking like budget and stuff like that. So I can try to go there for the event. So we're still checking if I can go or not.
In the event, like in the future, like maybe after the combat, the P2 and P3, there could be like a contest where players will vote or some side quests related to their personality. Example, like angry personality, playing a whack-a-mole, a curious person solving a puzzle, like maybe like an Among Us type of gameplay wherein you can do a lot of stuff
I don't
in
know.
the future.
New game, right? We could say that on a new mini game. Yeah.
Yeah, or like a personality of a day or ancestry of the day that would give around 20% boost to a random stat.
Yeah. That's a nice addition, and
in the future.
really makes the game alive. I could see that being implemented in the future.
There ever be an option to increase the pro count rate?
Procreation count?
Yeah,
No, we don't have we don't have a plan for that.
Will be your smart goal or your short-term goal for this few upcoming days, like your short-term goal, the reachable goal right now?
Our reachable goal is to have the real-time PvP video show off. We are working right now. We're polishing things that we are adding to the PvP that I don't want to expire right now. But yeah, so PvE, we had the PvE show off, and for PvP we have some new additions that we are adding and polishing. And as soon as it's good enough, we're gonna have our PvP video. I would love to do that real time, but we don't get like a good quality streaming, so probably we're gonna pre-record like we usually do and share on YouTube.
Yeah. There's a lot of us right now. Will you give us some spoiler or a skill spoiler?
Skill spoiler?
Yeah, like a basic description of a upcoming skill spoiler that you haven't posted.
Okay.
Special for the 103 people. Yeah,
Okay,
the wife of Douglas is mad, so I think this will be a good incentive.
There's one that I think it's related with the procreation count, and it's a funny one that I really like. That's called chastity chastity blow, I think. That the potency of the skill is based off your breed count. So
Oh.
virgin NFTs, they're gonna do more damage than the ones that
Okay,
use on.
see, that's the importance of staying in this question.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
your virginity matters in Devikins.
and when I say that our skills can interact with anything in the game, that's the flexibility I'm saying. So we can use that as to be the potency of your skill, and we did create that skill.
That's
So,
such an
it's a fun.
awesome. Like sometimes I wonder what's going on your mind for the undies and such and so on, or
Yeah.
the inspirations
Yeah.
that. Everybody's looking for the Virgin NFT cost more damage, so Virgin people go loud.
Yeah, oh yeah, we've said it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everyone who stay. I know it's like 1 p.m. right now, right?
Yeah, 1
So
a.m.
sorry about that for taking so long, but thank you for staying and being interested in Devikins. And as I said and as I share, we are always working hard. We want to give you the best experience, and we are just in the beginning, as I always say, and we are building, and for Devikins to be like a full game. We sell Devikin as like a turn-based RPG, but I think Devikin is much more than that. At least we see Devikins much more than that. And I'm really happy that you all are interested in being part of that. And as I said, we are all suggesting that it's most of the time it's good, and we try to implement. So because you guys worried about our concerned at Devikin as much as we are, so really happy with that.